She's got us on mute.
I
Oh,
like when in my class, I always hit the unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. There's only 5 of us here. Come on, guys.
There's 6 of us actually, counting the note taker.
no, she was
No,
talking
I
about her.
meant about my class.
We haven't had I haven't had that yet where we've had a repeat of where we had a repeat where it was me and 12 note takers at one point in a meeting. So
We
I
don't
do
even
not
have
like
note
that.
takers in ours
let's
That's
see which.
irritating to me.
because I don't know how to even get it. You can't. I couldn't ever even get it to what you call it
Well,
to
I
get
think
the
the thing
summary.
that's irritating to me is because um, I don't feel like Zoom has caught up to note takers. And so when you're doing online classes, you need to keep people engaged. And so if you're asking them things, you can't see what they're responding because there's so many doggone note takers.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have told people when I do mine, no note takers. I
You
will
can
send
just
a
you
summary
can
of the
just
meeting
decline them.
myself.
You can just
What?
decline them. I go through and kick them out when I see them.
Oh, you do? I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm
I always
kind
hit
of
no, except for
I
your note taker.
yeah, I
It's
do
like a whole
mine.
bunch or something.
Who's the co-host? Huh? Um, yeah, I don't I think note takers are great, but we were talking the other day. I don't remember who I was talking to. Maybe it was you, Cecine, but I was talking about the word thank you and how
Oh yeah, we talking about thank you and
thank you and
please.
please and how it was consuming electricity to generate that.
Yeah. But I'm sorry. I like when they say thank you and it says good night. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Well, think about this. Think about how many note takers are actually around that are all doing the same thing. They're all doing the same thing as a Zoom summary I put out, right? I mean,
Hmm.
it's like, what the heck?
So no, I do the Zoom summary and I tell my class, people in my class, I will send you the Zoom summary along with your glossary and your questions and your definitions at the end
There
of
you go.
class. You get them the same night.
Look at my lighting. Ha ha.
It
It was like
looks
night
better.
yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that
Oh,
change it makes a world of difference with you. It really does. I mean, you show up much better. So let's see who else is here. We've got
They don't want to
Faye's
talk though.
here, Olu.
Alu. Hi, Alu.
Hello, Olu.
I talked to him yesterday and Tuesday in the breakout group.
Did you?
Ganto
Shanique.
inagi ki when to me la say you go for the meeting go for a training. Am you pay?
So
Now you
Shanique.
pay.
Hello, how are you? All right. So let's see who else is here. Abraham is here. Abraham will go down as being remembered Mr. Mind Map. That made it his thing in the last meeting, his mind map they showed, that made a big impression. I
Yeah,
don't
I
think I'll
did.
forget. It was pretty good. Um, let's see who else is here. Can I get rid of that? And we'll get ready. Okay. Let's do immersive and see who's in there. Have you all seen immersive yet?
Oh, I don't even know what this.
No.
There's a view that's immersive that
Oh,
shows everybody, right? Shows you like you're sitting in a
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, I want to see that. That's cute.
It's in there. I got to leave now. We need to get started. So,
Okay.
okay. Good morning and afternoon, everybody. I hope you've had a good day so far. Today we are going to have uh, this is one of my favorite days, I think, because we actually get to start talking about prompting. We're gonna dive in, we're gonna dive in head first, and we're gonna go through and we're gonna talk about prompting, and you're gonna have some opportunities to do some really what I think are interesting things, eye-opening things. That I was amazed when I learned these things. Maybe you will, maybe you won't, but I hope you get I hope we have a good day out of this. I hope you get some real good value out of it. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. So today we're going to talk about we're doing the introductions right now, right? And then we've moved on to kind of the course agenda. We're going to talk about prompt engineering today. And I mentioned that. We're going to talk about a couple frameworks, the Clear and Spark framework. Seems like every person in the world who wants to be an AI guru writes their own framework, right? I mean, there's um, there's Cam and there's all these different ones, and you can Google them. We picked just a couple that you can go in and check out and use and see what you think. And then we're going to talk about who the best prompt engineer is in the second hour. The best prompt engineer, the folks that have been in class with me before know the answer. But I think that I heard a snicker there, right? But the rest of you may or may not know who the best prompt engineer in the world is. I would love to say it's me, right? I would love to say I'm the best, but unfortunately, this this person, if you want to call him that, is the best. And so we're going to talk about that and talk about how you apply that and how you learn from that in your prompting as you're going forward. And then we're going to do a quick overview or review of the homework just to make sure everybody's got it. I'm expecting that that those of you that have sent your homework, I appreciate it. Those of you that haven't yet, I would like for you to send it by the end of today if you've got it, or over the weekend. I'm going to spend all weekend going through it. Um, so, um, I hope that we'll have a good day and you'll get some good value out of it. Okay, so I talked about prompt engineering, right? And prompt engineering is really, when we say engineering, it's really not, how do I say this? It's really not engineering per se. It's more about understanding how things fit together inside of AI, right? In generative AI, when we're asking questions, how do you do that? How do you put things in such a way that you get the right answers? And how do you also not have to repeat yourself all the time, right? How do you make it so that you don't have to go through, once you go through the iterations and you figure out, okay, here's what a prompt looks like. How do you make it so that you don't have to go back and do that again? In the early days, well, early days meaning, a year and a half ago, what we did was we copied our prompts and we put them into a Word document, right? And then you'd go back when you needed it, you'd go back and get it. Sometimes you'd remember, sometimes you wouldn't. And it was just always troubling trying to do that. And you had to be an organized person and be able to remember that and be able to do that. I'm not an organized person at all, right? I work with Belonglay from our team, and she is all the time on me about, Chris, you need to get me this. Chris, you need to get me this. She keeps me organized, right? And so you can imagine an unorganized person like myself, how would that work? It didn't work very well. Imagine being able to say you're using one of the generative AIs, right? Chat GPT, Gemini, Claude, and you're using it at home, you're using it at school, you're using it in your work environment. Um, it is incredible, right? How complex it can get. And so what we want you to do, so what we want to do is talk about that in the second half. How do you do that? And how do we do that moving forward? So are there any questions before I really dive into this? Because frankly, I'm pretty passionate about prompt engineering, and I am ready to go. So I may not even take a breath for a while. Okay. No questions. I don't see anything in the chat. Let me see who I can call on because I need to do that. We need to find out make sure everybody's here. Okay. Abraham, are you there? Abraham.
I'm here.
Good. Just checking to make sure you were with me. You got any questions?
Uh, no question for now.
Okay. Good. Faye, how about you? All right. Well, let's go ahead then. I'll go ahead and jump in, assuming we've got no questions. So, what is prompt engineering? Click. There you go. So, what is prompt engineering? It's a lot like software development, in my opinion, right? It's a lot like writing a book or doing a painting. There's a way you can do a painting or write a book or write software or create an analysis. And a lot of can be science. You can say, here are the steps you should go through. But a lot of it too is art. And when I say art, it's about intuition. It's about the soft skills that we have. It's about, do I have critical thinking? Am I able to take and understand what's in front of me and turn it into, it's not what I want? Am I able to put it in a question format or in a statement that can lead me to where I need to go? Can I do that in my head? Can I do that as it it's presented in front of me? So it's really, in my opinion, it's really an art and a science. We're going to talk about some frameworks today. I've talked about them, but it's also about you and how you use it and how you employ it in your day to day. You're going to get to a point where, for me, for example, I already know all these things intuitively. I don't even have to, I've done it so many times that when I write prompts, it's got most of those characteristics in them. You're going to find that as well. As you practice, as you use this, you're going to use these tools, you're going to find that you're going to need to be able to ask questions, and you're going to need to be intuitive, and you're going to need to understand what's happening behind the scenes. That's why we talk about tokens a lot, right? We talked about tokens. We're going to talk about the biases that come with it. Joy Mason is going to lead our conversation tomorrow, or I'm sorry, on Tuesday. We're going to be talking about biases and those kind of things. You need to know what those things are, and you need to be able to look at them and tell what's happening, right? It's very important to do that. The other day, Tuesday, I think it was, a comment was made by your president about the fact that garbage in, garbage out, basically, right? If you put junk in there, if you just throw a word salad at it, it's going to do its best, and it's probably going to give you a word salad out. It's going to give you it's going to give you something, right? And the vaguer you are when you're trying to use it, the more it's going to give you probably not what you want. Prompt engineering is also interdisciplinary, right? You have to have a little bit of that computer software, computer science kind of mind. You have to think about, be able to solve problems. You need to be able to look at things and say, okay, this is not working quite right. What do I do to fix it? Right? And if you go in and you put a bunch of things in at the same time, it's going to make a bunch of changes, and you're not going to be able to tell what it is as you're working through and using your prompts. So prompt engineering is really interdisciplinary, right? You need to be able to communicate. You need to be able to have that problem solving, critical thinking mindset. I saw an article the other day about the fact that some people are speculating that critical thinking is going away because people are using AI. I'm not sure about that, but it seems like to me that critical thinking is more involved in what I'm doing around AI and how I'm using it. And I think that as people go forward, we're going to see it's really, maybe we lose some skills, some critical thinking skills in some areas, and we pick up some in others. It's an interesting um, journey that we're undertaking here as we go forward with this. Why does it matter? Prompt engineering matters because it's going to give you a 75% better answer, right? It's going to, instead of giving you just something, you're telling it more specificity. It's going to get more likely to give you a better answer than what it would if you didn't use your prompt engineering skills. It's going to reduce your error rate. You're not going to get things that are misquoted, hopefully things that are misquoted. You're not going to get things that are not relevant. Of course, it still may do that. You still need to check it, but by using prompt engineering, we can reduce that, right? We can reduce those errors and those misstatements that come up and those hallucinations that come up by using good prompt engineering, using good structured prompts. It also, from our standpoint, it helps as a human because now we're going to use clear language, right? We're going to use structured language. When you're doing your prompts, you'll get to a point where you're using that structured language. You put, you know, you are and then fill in the blank, right? You are a computer programmer. You are a PhD professor at Tubman University. I'm sorry, it's William V.S. Tubman University in Liberia, teaching science, right? And it's going to narrow that focus for you because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to take the internet, which is this big, and narrow it down to where we're looking at this much, right? And that reduces down our errors. It improves our accuracy, and it allows us to be able to solve more complex problems and do more complex things. One of the things we're going to do today is you're going to have an opportunity to write a prompt generator. And so I'm not going to explain what that is. I'm going to leave it for our breakout session later. But imagine being able to do that where you can use that structured language and have it work for you in a way where it becomes repeatable, right? You can replicate it. Starting out using a structured language approach, you can sit down and write a much better prompt if you're an absolute beginner than you would if you just kind of start banging at the keyboard, hoping you get the right combination. You can take a more systematic approach to writing your prompts. So the clear framework is one of them that I like. It's got all the elements in it. It's got context, length, expectations, audience, and refinement. So let's talk about context. I'm a PhD professor. Write a science brief on quantum physics. Okay, it's going to write it. Instead, what if I say, I am a PhD professor at William V.S. Tubman University in Liberia, write a science research paper. by narrowing that focus from I'm just a PhD professor floating out in the ethosphere, I am narrowing it down to a specific university in a specific country with a specific degree requirement. And I'm also saying I've still got a pretty broad request, which I'm going to talk about in a minute, science research paper, right? We've narrowed that focus. If the next one is length, right? So what is length? I want you to write a 1,000 word blog on why AI is interesting for grandmothers. You're telling it how long you want it. You don't want 5,000 words. You're not trying to get 100 words. You want 1,000 words. So you're telling it how long to do it. You can tell it sentences. You can tell it paragraphs. You can tell it chapters. You could tell it lessons. You could tell it modules. You can tell it anything you want, right? Give me a list of the top 15 reasons why somebody should take Chris Daly's AI specialist class. It'll give you 15 reasons. You're telling it the number you want. You don't want just a few, you don't want a lot, you want just the number you expect. That helps you from the standpoint, first of all, it's not going to waste tokens, right? It's not going to make your desk space more crowded because you're only getting what you want. You're only getting that 15. If you say, I want you to write a blog for 1,000 words, and I want the format, I've already told it the format, I want a blog post. The tone, I want it to be encouraging, informative, and what the content's about. I'm setting the expectations. Here's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting this. If you don't give it the expectations, it's going to do whatever it wants to do. It's going to give you some language back, right? But it won't be specific. So you need to make sure that you're talking about the format, the tone, and the content. My expectations are I want this blog post created. I want it I would like for you to put it in a PDF format. I would like for it to be encouraging, engaging. I would like you to humanize the content. And I would like the blog post to be about building AI agents. Now, I threw something in there that was new, and that's the word humanize, right? Initially, when you start using tools, it doesn't know you. Over time, it's keeping track of the things you like, the things you don't like. It's a very most GPTs are very pleasing, right? They want to please you. Can I go ahead and create the PDF for you? Or can I go ahead and I've been doing a lot of automation work lately. And it asks me invariably, give me a list of 15 reasons why you should take my class. And it invariably comes back and says, do you want that in JSON format? No, I'm not writing code. I want 15 reasons, right? So you can give it that and you can shortcut it. So you can have it create the documents for you in the format you want. And if you say a downloadable format, it'll create it for you. If you say I want a cut and paste version because you don't want to mess around with a file, you say that and it will give it to you in that format. Tone, is very important. If you don't give it a tone, it's going to write whatever it wants. You need to say what you want it to be. Do you want it to be empathetic? Do you want it to be happy? Do you want it to be funny? Do you want it to, the tone to be dad jokes, right? Which I get told by my kids that I have dad jokes all the time because they've heard them 100 times. But the idea is you're tailoring it and making it the tone that you want it to be. Do you want it to be academic? Do you want it to be informative? Right? When we talk about content and expectations, right, that leads us right into audience. Who am I writing this for? When I write my blog posts, I typically write them at about, this is embarrassing to say, I like to write them at about a 7th grade level. because unfortunately, that's about the level that people read anymore, or at least in my experience, right? If I'm writing to when I'm writing to high school kids, we will, because I've done that. We've had programs, AI programs specifically for high school kids, kids as young as 10 to 12. I've actually worked with. Um, when you're writing, when you're tailoring things for them, you're creating worksheets, or you're creating content for them, or you're creating a video, right? You might use AI to help you write the script. Okay, who's your audience? Right? Any you can communicate are used to. You can have a tone that they are used to. Refinement. So the last step in this clear framework is refinement is about the fact that as much as we would like to, as much as I would like to brag on myself and say, you use a clear framework and you're only going to have to write the prompt once. You don't have to do that. And very rarely does it come back exactly the way you want it. We're very much visual people. We can think things through in our mind, but in reality, most of us have to look at it and see if it's really what we wanted. That refinement of saying, I really like this, but I don't like the emojis. Or I really like this, but I don't like the fact that the tone is harsher than what I wanted it to be. Right. So you're going to go through and you're going to refine it. Right. And that's what this refinement is that it's acknowledging the fact that we're not going to get it right the first time. If you think you're going to get your prompts right the first time, you're going to have a bit of a challenge, right? You're going to get into what I call lazy AI, where you write a prompt and whatever it comes out, you copy and paste it. It's a bad thing, right? It's a bad thing. People are going to know if you use AI in your emails or when you're writing your blog posts by the nuances of AI. For example, if you ask it to write an email for you and it writes an email and it's got, at the very bottom where the signature, it says your name. If you don't if you don't take the time to say, replace that with Chris Daly, people are going to know you're using AI. And we don't always want to do that. We don't want people to feel like that we're using AI, even though most of us probably know we are. We typically don't want to do that. We don't want to feel that way. We don't want others to feel that way. So use your refinement as an opportunity to go in and remove those things that you don't like. If you don't like emojis, get rid of them. If you want to change some things around, you want to change the tone, you can do that using that refinement step. I'm powering through here because I want to get to so I've reviewed these slides a couple times. So quantum computing was top of mind for me because I had read this. But so you can see here in this particular slide, you can see how you get more and more depth, you get more context, you talk about a specific length, you start setting expectations, and then you can define your audience. Right now, you could do all these at once. It depends on how you think. You could step through it doing it right about quantum computing and it comes back with something, and then you could change that. You could add the context, you could do it all. You can also use the framework to try to write it all at once so that you get closer to what you want to do. It depends on how you like to approach it. Some things that I like to do are analysis, right? So before I love the quote from Einstein where somebody posed, and I'm paraphrasing here, somebody posed the question to him, what would you do if you only had an hour before the end of the world? What would you do? And Einstein said, I'd spend 55 minutes trying to figure out what the problem was, and then 5 minutes to figure out what the solution was, right? We often jump to make identify solutions before we really understand what our problem is. What are we trying to solve? What's our why? Right? So start with analysis and go through and figure out what it is you're really trying to do. And then test multiple variations of it. In marketing, they'll often refer to this as an A/B test, right? Think of it that way. What happens if you run a prompt through and it gives you something and you say, you know what? Let's try that a little bit differently and see how that works. So try multiple variations, right? Try to get to see so that you've got something to compare to. Don't just take what is given from you. It's tempting to do that, right? Because it's like, oh, I got something. I'm going to copy and paste it and I'm off. Don't do that though. Take the time to go through and look at it. It's saving you a gob of time, right? It's saving you a bunch of time, and you're getting much more information quicker than you would if you tried to do it yourself. So go ahead and take some time and look at those. You don't have to go in and write the one end all be all prompt, submit it, and be done, right? Take your complex tasks and break them down into what it is you're trying to do. This is going to be particularly important when we start talking about automation, right? When we start talking about AI automation, a lot of times we go after and I've done this, I've been in software business forever. It's just people's nature. We go after the glitz, right? We go after the thing that we really think we need to do. And it's like, we're going to solve this big problem. That big problem is usually broken down into it can be broken down into a series of small problems that we can get our head around and be actionable and solve, right? So break your complex tasks down. If you think about writing a book, you don't just say write a book. You don't write a prompt that says write a book. What you do is you say, all right, give me some topics I can choose from in this space. Then give me a catchy title. Create an outline. Once you get the catchy title, create an outline for me, 3 levels deep. Then go in and say, okay, now that I've created that outline, start processing or creating the book. So what do you start with first? Some people start with the introduction. Some people start with chapter 1. So what are you going to do inside chapter 1? I might do, section 1 and say, write section 1, write section 2, write section 3. And then, and go through that. I got done with chapter 1. Now let's look at chapter 1 and let's review it as a whole. Am I staying on course? Am I doing what I need? Is it accomplishing what I need to do? Do I have the right tone to it? By breaking it down into those smaller segments, you're not writing the whole book and then you figure out at the end, daggone, I wish that was more positive, right? You're figuring it out as you go. I refer to this as being iterative and incremental. I'm building on top of what I do, what I start with. I'm building on top of it and I'm doing it in small iterations. It takes a little bit longer, but when something screws up, I can see that it screwed up. I can see that I don't like that. So I can stop before I get too far down the road and make it a major task. Just like humans writing books or software programs or research papers, right? Once you get it, the more you get done before you figure out that you've got it the way you want it, the harder it is to go to change it. And typically, the less quality output it becomes because you've got so much you're going back to change. So try to decompose your complex tasks, break them down into smaller pieces. And then be sure you leverage earlier things that you've said, earlier exchanges that you've had with the LLMs, right? With the chat bots. Try to make sure that you can refer back. Try to make sure that it's keeping a continuous stream and it's working through. Don't go in and use multiple chats and expect that those chats are going to communicate to each other. That's starting to come, but it's not there yet in all models. So don't do that, right? Keep it moving forward and keep remembering that the concept of tokens. You only have a desktop of a you only have a desktop. You only have so much space to work in. And if you upload a 5,000 page book, you're not going to have a lot of, if you laid that out on your desktop page by page by page, you wouldn't have a lot of room, right? So keep that in mind. Make sure that you're referring back. Sometimes you may have to take something from up above that you copied and bring it down and reintroduce it so that it keeps refreshed, right? So that we keep it going in the same stream of thought that we want it to. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to have some fun. I would like for you to go into your breakout rooms, and I would like for you, this is where people drop off because they don't like breakout rooms. I would like for you to go into your breakout rooms, and I would like for you to use the clear method and go in, and I would like for you to pick one of the problems on the screen and solve it. So creating a study guide for an exam, writing marketing copy for a new product, designing an icebreaker activity for a workshop. So I'd like for you to go in and solve one of those and write the prompt for it and actually execute it. So to do that, let me show you how to do that. I got to change my share. And now I got to go back into share. Come on. Okay. To change your so what I'd like for you to do is go into your share, and you should see do you see OpenAI GPT-5? Yep. Okay. So this is inside InnoPower AI, right? And let's go back through this for a second. When you log into InnoPower, you're going to find it's pretty much like this, right? It's closed. And so you're going to go for this activity, you're going to go down to the chat models and you're going to go to GPT-5. Now, this is the newest chat GPT. If you are a fan of some of the other models that are out there, like Claude or Grok, you can feel free to use those. You can even use, if you scroll on down, there's some other ones down here. Claude, for example, Claude Sonnet. There's even older models if you're so fancy yourself, right? So go in. I would like for you to go into Chat GPT-5, log in, open up your chat models, and click on Chat OpenAI Chat GPT-5. It's the smartest, right? And then I would like for you to write a clear prompt. All right. So clear, right? So the context, I am a professor, ignore my spelling, in Liberia. Okay. The expectations. I would like to have a blog post that is 200 words. And so I've got length in there, right? I've got the context, a little bit of context. I'm a professor in Liberia. I've got my expectations, right? The E part. I want a blog post that's 200 words, right? And yeah, let's just go with that. This is a bug in our studio. Sorry for that. I'll fix that while you're doing it. Okay, so it's going to ask, it's for example, so it's asking me some questions. What topic would I like to cover? Um, Space exploration. No, let's do agriculture in Liberia. So it's going to go through and do that, right? It's going to step you through and it wrote it. Now, notice I didn't say anything about the audience, right? Who's I writing this for? So it's going to do its own thing. Now, I could ask it again to change it for the audience, right? So I could say, um, change it to be for um, college students. There you go. Right? Works pretty, works easily. I got to move that out of the way. So while I'm here, let me show you a couple other things. So first of all, you can click here and add a file. Right? So you could go in here and you could go to, it'll take you to your file management system and you can click on a file, you can click on a picture and it will add it. So you can do that. I'm not going to do that right now because I want you to get to it. The other thing that is interesting about this one is that I've enabled voice communication. So I can say, I would like for you to create a blog post of 200 words about agriculture in Liberia. Come over here and you click that and it translates it or puts it right there. Right. So if you don't want to type it, you want to play around, use it for that. Okay.
Can you go over the voice prompt?
The words of the prompt,
The voice. How do you do the voice?
you click on right here. There's a microphone down at the bottom. Do you see it? You just click it and it says listening. And so it's listening to me as I ramble on here and try to answer the question. And then when I'm done, you click the X right here. And there you go. It added it on to the end.
Thank you.
You can see it right there. This is a new feature we got. And in fact, my teammates here haven't seen that because I just enabled this on 5.0 on 5.0. The other thing, so I'm having you do that from your breakout room. The other thing you can do is you can ask it to create an image of a cat playing with yarn. And it will generate an image for you. Now notice I just said an image of a cat playing with yarn. I didn't define much context, right? But it created an image of a cat playing with yarn. Now I could change that to be a black cat. I could make it a kit. It already is a kitten, but I could make it an older cat. So that is also included in the studio. And that works for all of the LLMs that are here, right? So every one of these has the I believe has the image generation on it. So you should be able to just sit down. You should just be able to say, give me an image of a cat. Using this tool, when we come back from the breakout, I'll show you some things that I've had fourth graders do where they've generated images. Just as a real quick aside. So, are there any questions? Comments, thoughts. There's also an image generator up there. Okay. So with that, I am going to send you to your breakout rooms. I'm going to let you choose which breakout room you go to. And I'm going to create, there's 24. So I'm going to let's create 10 breakout rooms. That should give us 2 to 3 people. Let's go 7. That'll give us a few more. I find these things go better that way. So I'm going to create the breakout rooms. You'll be able to choose. Are there any questions before we get going? You are the quietest group I've ever met. Emmanuel, you got a question? No? Okay. Here you go. Yes, Chris Gilbert.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to appreciate you for taking us through these. But just a little experience I wanted to share.
Sure.
Now, pertaining to prompt engineering, what I have been doing is that I've built a library of prompt. So for instance, just like Chris just taught us now, for instance, if it's concerning a blog post about something, then after brainstorming and going through all these, I finally get to that point where I'm convinced that, okay, this one is good. Then I copy that prompt and then I put it in the library, put it in the Word document, and then I label it. So I've been doing that for some time. So when it comes to certain jobs that are repetitive, I go back to the prompt and then I use it and just do a little edit for solving the problem at hand. So this is just a little I thought I should share with my seniors and colleagues. Thank you.
You are more organized than I am, for sure. Right?
No.
You have to be very organized to do that. And I encourage people to do that, to save those prompts as best you can, right? And to keep them organized. And it's great you're doing that. I like the term you used of library, because I think that really explains what you're trying to do. Do you find it works for you pretty well?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Thanks for contributing that. Does anybody else have anything they want to contribute? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms. You choose which one you want to go into. There are 7 of them. And you'll have I'll give you 15 minutes to do this particular exercise. And then I'll bring you back. So I'll bring you back at 11:16. Okay. So here you go. Now, again, you choose which room you want to get into. I'm going to go back to sharing the.
Where are the rooms?
It should be open to you.
Yeah, trying to find it though.
How many people are in here? 23. Are you having a problem finding the rooms?
Yeah, I do have a problem finding the room.
Yes. I also have a
Okay.
problem finding them.
Me
Okay.
too.
I will assign you. Hold on.
Okay, this is it. You go to more.
Where is it? Kamani.
Go to more. Just close where we have leave. The 3 dots. When you click on it, you will see join breakout room.
I mean, you better want to probably like you get to don't break that room. Okay, good. Room 6. Ooh, room 6.
Tracy Justice, you still here?
Yes.
Okay. There was a new invitation that was sent out. The old one was supposed to be deleted. I saw your note after you had joined, so
Yeah, you're just missing the T. And so it's just justice at Be Bold Be You, but it's supposed to be T Justice.
P Justice.
Yeah, T Justice. So when Cecile sent it,
Okay.
I looked just to make sure, like, am I, let me just trouble it. And then I noticed that it says justice. I
Okay.
was gonna send you an email after the class. So,
Okay.
but thank
that was
you
a
for asking.
that was a typo. I apologize.
Oh no, thank you.
Here you go.
Thank you. And then I'm actually like making lunch. So
You just want to hang with me?
yeah, so I'm just gonna be hanging over here while I'm making lunch until
What are we
everybody gets
having?
back. Brunch, I guess. I'm having brunch, eggs and bacon.
Oh, I'll be over in just a little bit.
Said, I want to come too, Tracy.
I was just craving, I don't know. I was just like, oh, I just feel like having some eggs and bacon right now. So that's what we're doing. Oh, it's still early. I've been up since 5, so I guess I feel like it's been a long day already, but it's still morning.
So have we. We've been up since 5 too.
Why?
My dog helped me. Okay, let's see. Who's left here?
This is Jashina. I'm just hanging out.
Okay.
It's okay.
All right. Well, you guys hang out. I'm going to go jump around a little bit.